Welcome back to the show. Let's talk to Mr. Alessio Rastani, founder and CEO of LeadingTrader.com. Morning to you, Alessio. Let's talk coffee. I haven't drunk coffee for 20 years, and that's clearly in the technical analysis on the chart.
If you're thinking about investing or trading a market, probably coffee would not be the first thing on your mind. Most folks are probably thinking about Bitcoin, Forex markets, or the indices. Coffee is probably not the first thing. But here's why you should be interested in coffee. The book which every investor or trader should read, I'm hoping that everyone has read this, but if you haven't, buy it. It's called Market Wizards by Jack Schwager. Probably the best book written about investing and trading.
Did two, didn't they?
Two written, yeah. And the reason why that book is important is because it's a series of interviews with some of the best traders in the world. I mean, people who you should really be paying attention to. And in that book, there's a chapter by Paul Tudor Jones, one of the top traders in the world. And he says, to be a good trader or investor, you need to be a good contrarian. So you need to be looking at what the other folks out there are avoiding. So if something is hated, if something is being avoided, usually that spells out one word, which is opportunity. So if you're looking for those amazing opportunities in the market that could make you triple-digit, returns, that isn't done by looking at something which is already in a massive bull market like Bitcoin. But look, the money is made in a bear market. When that bear market is turning around and just beginning to go higher, you need to be a contrarian. You need to go against the herd, everybody else, okay? So that is why we want to pay attention to coffee, because coffee is right now the most hated market on the planet. In case you're wondering how do we know that, it comes from the COT reports, the Commitment of Traders reports, that investors are shunning, moving away from coffee. That means there are two kinds of folks who are interested. Contrarians like myself, and also professional, the institutions. Institutions will be interested in this. And I think, in my view, that major rally we've had this summer, that in my view is wave one, which is essentially, in Elliott wave theory, the first initial thrust, where usually institutions start buying into a market. Then we've had this corrective move. I believe it's a corrective move, wave two.
Okay.
And this is an if coffee then closes above 132, then I'd be getting long on coffee, because that's potentially the start of wave three. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how do we know this wave count is correct? Well, here's the thing. This wave count probably is correct if we close above 132, the resistance. But if it comes back, if that coffee prices come back to the lows of June, then I'll change my mind. Then probably this wave count isn't correct. But again, if I get that close above 132, that resistance, I'll be getting long, because the targets, potential targets are, you have a very low risk, but high potential reward. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So that's my point on coffee. And by the way, there are two ways to trade coffee. One of the ways you can trade coffee is through an ETF called Joe,
Okay.
Cup of Joe. Very easy to remember. The second way you can trade coffee is by going short. In other words, doing the opposite on Starbucks. Because when coffee prices go up, that spells bad news for Starbucks, because it obviously affects their bottom line. Coffee prices going up isn't good for their profits and all that. So, yeah.
Alessio, thank you very much indeed.